What's up, sports fans? I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys won some money on DraftKings FanDuel, and most importantly, I hope you won some money on Overlay Fantasy Sports, which is what we are here to talk about today. We are going to run through the NBA slate because it starts significantly earlier than the MLB slate, so we will run in that order. It'll probably be the standard order moving forward because I wasn't even thinking about that, but NBA seems to be running a lot of this daily, during the day stuff, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that I just thought of, which is great, because the bubble's in Orlando, there probably aren't going to be any games ever that are like past like 10 Eastern, like that we would always have to deal with on the West Coast.
I didn't think about that, but that's great.
It's awesome.
Did you catch the members only video I did the other day where I talked about the game being in Denver and the altitude for a couple seconds? I totally slipped my mind. And it's going to happen a few more times.
I did not, but I happened to watch the members only yesterday when you were like, I made a brain fart about thinking the game was in Denver. So I got it.
Yes. Still getting used to this as well. All right, guys. So I'm going to click on the progressive contest, the double deuce progressive. That's the one with the jackpot of $19,000 today. If you can swing it, that's the one that's going to get you rich. Looks like the entry fee has gone down from $22 to $20.20. So there is a little bit of a break on it right there. I don't know quite yet if it's just for the day, but we will see moving forward. So we're going to start at the top with LeBron James at Utah, which again is all in the bubble, so it doesn't really mean anything, and Joel Embiid against the San Antonio Spurs. And figure out what we want to do with these guys. I would almost always take LeBron in this matchup, but honestly, like San Antonio is kind of a joke right now with no big men. I loved what I saw from Embiid in the loss the other day. I'm actually going to side with Embiid because also, just to reiterate, you lose points on this website for missed shots, and I just expect LeBron to miss more shots because they don't come all right next to the basket.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. It's Embiid for me here, like no doubt, because you just mentioned the missed shots. You got to expect he's a little pissed off after that last game. San Antonio has no one that can stop him, so give me Embiid all day here.
All right, I'm going to go down here low again, and I'm trying not to be prisoner of the moment because the Lakers guys were an absolute joke against Toronto the other day. I know how good Anthony Davis and LeBron are, but I think I'm going to go with Jokic right here again. No Will Barton, very likely no Jamal Murray is my guess today as well, which means the offense, it's Nikola Jokic, the new trimmed down Nikola Jokic as well.
Yeah, he looks skinny, huh? I'm with you, so give me Jokic here as well.
All right, Ben Simmons versus Drew Holiday. This one's tough because if we were talking about a different pace side, I'd probably like Drew Holiday a little bit more. But this is another one with the missed shots. Ben Simmons has that high field goal percentage because he doesn't shoot jumpers. I like the spot for Drew Holiday a little bit more. Oh, boy. What about you? I'm still thinking on this one.
I'm like, man, I hate this, but I'm like 100% with you again. I'm going to lean Simmons, but I like the spot for Holiday better. I will lean Simmons, though, because I think he's a slightly better player and the missed field goals.
My only trepidation on Simmons and why I wouldn't lock that one in right here is I like the matchup for Drew and this game to be very, very close, whereas San Antonio on the tail end of a back-to-back without a lot of their good players, Philly a little pissed off. They could roll in this situation. That being said, when does Philly ever roll not in Philadelphia? And that was an interesting question people brought up. Is it a road thing or is it away from Philadelphia thing? We'll have to watch.
You could argue and say right now San Antonio is playing better ball than Philly. We know that's not true, and Philly's the better team, and they have more talent. And you're right about the second half of a back-to-back. But, man, San Antonio needs these wins too, and I guess don't underestimate the power of Popovich.
Yeah. It's a tough one for me. This is one I will not be picking.
Fair.
Derozan versus Tobias Harris.
I like Derozan. He didn't have a monster workload yesterday. It was the Dejounte Murray show. I think he's needed here. Assuming this game stays close, DeRozan will have to be a big part of it.
Yes, I'll side with you. I just think he's more needed. I think Harris has games where this could work better. I like the spot better for Harris, but DeRozan is much more necessary to his team.
Mm-hmm.
I like the floor of a DeRozan in this one. All right, Brandon Ingram versus Lonzo Ball. I have not liked what I've seen from Lonzo. Not saying that Ingram has been killing it. So I'm going to go with Ingram, but this is not what I feel great about.
I probably won't pick this one, but I lean with Ingram as well.
All right. My boy J-Val versus Chris Paul. Look, like I think J-Val has higher upside. Like if I'm trying to win a tournament today, I'm going to go with Jonas Valanciunas. I think he'd get no love. But in this specific situation, like I know Chris Paul's out there, and I know he's not picking up 5 quick fouls or whatever it might be and missing a lot of time like Valanciunas did the other day. I know he's not falling out of favor with the coach. I'll pick Chris Paul because I think his floor is just significantly higher, and I'll play that game here.
Yeah, give me Chris Paul like all day here. I have not liked what I've seen from J-Bal that much. He's doesn't play massive minutes. Give me Paul here all day.
This one's easy for me. Al Horford versus T.J. Warren. Give me T.J. Warren. I said over and over again on the public show that Warren ain't putting up 50-some points again and shooting 8 and 12 at 3. He doesn't have to in order to beat Al Horford in this spot. This is one I will pick 100%.
I love fading a chalky Warren on pay sites, but that's not this, right? Like all he needs to do here is beat Al Horford. So give me Warren here, 100%.
All right, Rudy Gobert versus the Lakers. Donovan Mitchell against the Lakers. This is one where I almost always Gobert and you almost always Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to stick with Gobert again today. Not feeling great about it, but it usually comes down to the missed shots factor for me on this site.
I got no strong feel here. I won't pick it.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. Next up, Schroeder versus Thomas Bryant. Again, not trying to be prisoner of the moment, but there's a reason I've written up Thomas Bryant in back-to-back Washington games. It's because with no Bertans, they're giving this kid the minutes we thought he'd have earlier in the season, and he's just a very good DFS player while he's out there. So give me Thomas Bryant.
He is a great DFS player. Another guy back-to-back. I can see that game getting ugly, but I still think he outscores Schroeder here.
All right. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. versus Murray. It's a tough one. This is another one. I like the floor of Jaren Jackson Jr. We've seen Murray with great games. See, yesterday, at least in the first half, I didn't really track his second half that well.
He finished strong.
Did he? Okay. Murray's all over the place, right? Like, he was great yesterday. It means nothing for today. Jackson, I know he's needed.
They got so many mouths to feed in that San Antonio backcourt of all, like, good players. I really wanted Murray to take that next step this year. Didn't seem to happen. It's just tough when you got, like, Derek White, Patty Mills. I mean, even with
Lonnie Walker now?
Lonnie Walker, even with Forbes out, like, Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson's getting, like, 3 wing minutes. So give me Jaren Jackson here. And I think this is just a get-up spot for all the Memphis guys going against Zion, especially someone like Jaren Jackson who might be matched up with Zion.
So that they're going to get up for the 4-minute Zion plays?
Yeah, exactly right.
It's just a shame that this Zion guy is so box office and we just can't see him for extended runs, right? Like, this has got to be fixed somehow.
It just makes no sense. Like, I just don't get it.
All right, Miles Turner versus Shai. Couple of nice young players. I'm going to go with Turner in this spot. Most of the time I would go Shai, but I like this spot for Turner a lot, so I'm going to bank on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll go with Turner here. Just a crush spot, and I think that he's in a much better spot than Shai here.
All right, Rui versus Shabazz Napier of the Washington Wizards. I'll go with Rui. That's it's no guarantee. We've seen Napier with big spots, and I wouldn't be surprised to watch Napier go off today. I feel like he might have one of those games in the bubble, but I'm going to pick Rui.
He will have one of those games in the bubble, but he looks awful right now. They've been talking about on the Washington broadcast about he even looked bad in the scrimmages. He can't hit, he can't hit the ocean from the beach, as they say. Give me Rui. Like, this might be my top pick.
Okay. Well, you're even more confident than I am, but we ended up on the same one. I just I don't like the look of this. Like, again, we lost Jonathan Isaac yesterday to the ACL. For some of these guys, when they just have nothing to play for, I mean, not that you don't get that at the end of the season normally anyways. It just seems weird that they got to quarantine and go into a bubble for this.
For sure, but I mean, if guys aren't ready or don't want to play, then they shouldn't play. You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
I mean, get your point. Like, it's not ideal, but nothing's going to be ideal right now.
I would just be annoyed if I was one of those couple teams and I'm like, really? Like, I would feel like I had to. Like, I wouldn't want to be the guy that opt out.
But on the same token, like, okay, it's fair. We haven't even talked about this. Would you rather be a team like Cleveland, who's just not in the bubble, than a team like Washington?
Yes.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, if you're out and, like, you had this 4-month break and there's nothing to play for and they're just asking you to come here for a couple of days and go away from your family after – like, when you're so far out of relevancy, I'd probably just say, you know what, I want to play basketball, but I'll see you all next year.
Yeah, I get that. I get it.
All right, Shake Milton versus Derek White. That's a tough one.
Man,
This
Shake
is
and
one I won't pick.
I was saying Shake and Embiid got into it on the other game, like big time. I'll send you the link. It was interesting and funny to see. I can't trust Shake Milton here, and White's been playing well. So even though they got so many guys in that backcourt, I like White. So give me White here.
All right, I'll side with you, but I won't pick it. All right, next up, Gallow versus Steven Adams. I'll just take the floor of my Steven Adams guy right here. They're going to need his big body in there. I know he's going to be good. Gallinari has good games, but they also have Shai and Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder playing wing minutes. But I know Adams is in there, getting his rebounds and not missing a lot of shots because he only shoots it from 3 feet away.
It's very hard to judge OKC because, again, everyone's had all this time off, so which is probably a really good thing for OKC. And then they rolled in the opening game of the bubble. So, like, we can't really take much off of that. I'm going to go Adams, too, but I could see both these guys having, like, good games. Nothing crazy, but good games.
Right. I tweeted about this before we got on here a little bit. I did get TV back. I spent like 90 minutes on the phone with DirecTV yesterday getting everything back reconnected now that we have sports and I want them. And crap, I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about? I had a complete.
We're talking about Steven Adams, Gallinari.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I will just pretend like that was just a big time mental breakdown on my part. All right, Mike Conley versus Joe Ingles. I'll just go with Conley.
Conley.
Okay. Derek Favors against Memphis. Dylan Brooks against New Orleans. Give me Favors.
I'm going to take Brooks. I like what I saw from him yesterday. I also like the spot for Memphis better than I like it for New Orleans.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's basically the same. It's very similar, though.
I want to double just check something. I feel like with Zion not really being a big part of what they're doing, unfortunately.
Oh,
I want to check the number of minutes Favors was playing.
It's tough because they got blown out, too, their last game.
Oh, they got absolutely scorched by the superior Clippers. And, of course, we pick now for internet to run slowly.
Of course.
Yeah, Favors played 28 minutes. Again, not monster production or anything like that. It's a tough pick because Brooks has probably got higher upside, but all right, let's keep moving down from there. Troy Brown Jr. versus Aaron Holiday. Tough to pick this one. If Brogdon and Depot are both out, I will probably go Aaron Holiday. But if Brogdon plays, I'll pick Troy Brown Jr., who was awesome yesterday. He let me down a little bit because we talked about him on the public broadcast for the first NBA slate, and he wasn't great. Picked up a bunch of quick fouls. I know somebody that's on this show that was a little bit upset when he picked up another one in the first 5 seconds yesterday, but he ended up being really good.
Yeah, he was really good, man. He should have been higher owned. Those guys from that game were higher owned than even I thought they'd be, but Brown should have been higher at that price point. I'm with you 100% here, though. Both the guards are out for Indiana. Give me Holiday. But, man, if Washington keeps this game close, you got to assume Brown has another good game here. He's not going to put up 50 again, but
especially with you talked about Napier struggling.
Exactly. He looks good. In the first game, he got into early foul trouble and he just didn't look good. I think he's going to play a lot more like he did yesterday than he did game one.
I'm with you on that one. All right, next up, Jacob Poeltl versus Monte Morris. Again, we don't know about Jamal Murray. I'm guessing he doesn't play, but I have absolutely no source that says that. That's better for Morris, who was pretty poor from a DFS standpoint to start last game, but got a little better as the game progressed. Poeltl was one of the three centers. So the three centers that were talked about yesterday through the write-up were Allen, who was awesome, Thomas Bryant, who was awesome, and Jacob Poeltl. Well, Poeltl was the guy that was going to be the chalkiest and who I said to ride with. He was, he went full Miles Turner and picked up 6 fouls really, really quickly.
I knew one of those guys, and I played 3 lineups, so I played 2 of them in every lineup, so I used each of them twice. I knew one of them was going to, bust because I figured all 3 of them couldn't be amazing. And I liked Bryant and Allen more. But sometimes, all 3 of them were in great spots,
Yeah, and that's sometimes the problem with big guys. They're down there by the hoop. They pick up quick fouls, especially right now, these first few days of the NBA. You're seeing just hack city because these guys haven't played in a while. They're not quite as good at, what was it? Was it the Dallas-Houston game? Or was it the Lakers game, too, where you're everybody was in foul trouble instantly.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's just not fun. Okay, I'm going to go Pirtle, though, today. He's going to be needed, and I am worried about the foul trouble, but they're going to need a big body against Embiid.
I was about to say that. Like, I'm real worried about the foul trouble. So give me Morris.
All right. D'Anthony Melton versus Paul Millsap. Getting ready for the playoffs. Give me Millsap for a shorthanded Denver team.
I like Millsap today, like everywhere. I think he's sneaky. All of a sudden, especially with those guards are out, they need more offense. So I like Millsap here. Give me him 100%. Right.
Jordan Clarkson versus Royce O'Neal. Clarkson has shot the ball terribly, but has definitely been in there for his offense. I am going to give him some faith today that he gets his shot falling, because if he shoots 1 of 100 again, it's not good on this site. But I'm putting some faith in Jordan Clarkson, but I'm real nervous about it.
I'll take Clarkson also. Royce O'Neal just really doesn't do it for me.
All right, Danny Green versus Alex Caruso. Watching the last 2 Lakers games, I'm really becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Alex Caruso. This guy, he's always in the passing lanes. He steps up at big times to play defense. Danny Green, just unless he's hot from 3-point range, he does nothing from me from a fantasy perspective. So I'm going to go with Caruso.
Yeah, I'm going to go Caruso also.
Like, they got like 5 guys now on the Lakers who do what Danny Green does. If you're talking about like Deion Waiters, KCP, J.R. Smith, and just, play some D in 3. Alex Caruso is the only guy not named LeBron James who can run the point guard position.
I think that you're right, but like breaking that down further, I do think that Danny Green is probably like the best defender of those guys.
Oh yeah,
but he's probably like, you could maybe, I don't know if he's the worst shooter, but he's definitely not like the best shooter out of them.
Which Danny Green, right? Are we talking Danny Green in like the finals from 5 years ago, or Danny Green that we watch sometimes? You're like, dude, could you hit water from a boat, man? Like, you used to be a heck of a shooter. You, other than Kawhi, like when the Spurs rolled on the Heat in that series, I think it was 4-1. Like, Danny Green was out there looking like Klay Thompson.
Bro, I'm so with you. He's gone from, there's certain points in his career where you're like, why is this guy even in the NBA? And then other times where he's playing key roles in the finals. So he's an enigma.
Like, when you were watching those finals, you're like, he's better than Dwayne Wade. You know he's not. He's not even close. It's not even the same conversation. But, like, you watch those finals from however many years ago it was, and you're like, Danny Green is the second best player on the floor.
He's a guy that he knows his role. So I respect that. Like, if he's, like, the second best player on the team, I mean, might be the worst team in the NBA. But as, like, the 5th or 6th best player, like, he knows his role.
Absolutely, guys. All right, well, that's Overlay for today. We'll check you guys as members only here momentarily, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.